Alright guys, and welcome to Rio de Janeiro. Since you were last with us, we've had a new suspension which has been put into Russell's car, but as of upgrades, that is it now for this season. We have got a new engine in the works, but that'll be coming in next season, not this season. So after today, we've got 3 races left. We're getting to the business end of the season. We're very much aware we're basically going to finish, I think highest is 6th. We are going to do our best, but there's no point me constantly upgrading the car when we can get better parts if I make them take a little bit longer to make. So that is what we're going to do, with the aim that next season we will have a much better car, challenging up towards the front of the grid constantly. So either way, I'm going to go and sort out practice and I will meet you guys for qualifying. So here we are for qualifying in Brazil. A race, I was hoping to have more races at the season, especially when we've had 3 Russia, or even 4 Russia maybe, and 3 Portugal. I just thought we could come back to Brazil once or twice, hopefully. But we're hoping for a big weekend. It was a disappointing practice, 14th and 16th. So not the best, but we will be going out today trying to have a good qualifying on what already looks like quite a slim track, and then hopefully pushing forward towards a good race and hopefully securing that 6th place in the Constructors' Championship. Just going to make sure we get the needle. And that is perfect. Now let's go. I've got to do Latifi's, haven't I? It's very, well, it's not very early, but it's early in the morning. Especially when you're working nights. So he's 4 tenths down essentially at the moment is George, which isn't not the best after sector 2, but it's not horrendous at the same time. 8 tenths down after sector 2. Okay, this might not be our weekend. There we go, he's got perfect. George ends up a second slower in 3rd place. Be interested to see where that actually leaves him. And Nicholas is also basically 4 tenths down after sector 1. Basically 9 tenths down after sector 2. And he goes 1.1 seconds down after sector 3, so it's 10th and 12th after their first runs. Q3 could definitely be quite difficult to get to this weekend. Whether that's a bad thing or not, probably not really. We're going to risk Russell. We're not sending Russell back out. We will send Latifi back out. But with Russell, we're going to leave it. We're going to risk him. And I'm open to the fact that I'm risking him. We'll see whether Alonso improves on him or not first. He's green in both sectors. Alonso doesn't improve on him, so Russell we are going to leave as is. But Latifi is a little at risk, not much, but a little risk enough for me to send him back out. Oh god, I've completely forgot about. I've left it on bloody full speed. Getting this in the green is going to be fun. Boom, managed it. Right, Nicholas, what can you pull out? Just ties that very nicely there. And he is green in sector 1. Green in sector 2. If you can get a big sector 3, he's through anyway. He is, and he goes faster than George. 11th and 12th in Q1 for us. Very bendy track. There you go. We are through. And in Q1 we have lost Lance Stroll, Fernando Alonso, Antonio Giovinazzi, Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin. I really want to build a really good car of Williams, which is why I'm doing what I'm doing, so we can build better parts and then just improve their quality. Hopefully. George still not entirely pleased, whether he'll be happy with a bit less. Try that. So there we go, got him in the green, which is where we want to have him. What can George provide? We will find out soon. Latifi obviously is the driver in form at the moment, and that will worry George. His seat that was so safe because he was the best driver isn't as safe anymore. Could both drivers be safe? There is a chance that both drivers will keep their jobs. It's like if the opportunity comes up to sign someone, you know, like a Lewis Hamilton or a Max Verstappen, I'm not exactly going to say no. And Latifi, oh, he's having a bad lap. He's having a very bad lap. He's already a second down. He's 1.1 seconds down by the end of the lap. With George, we're not sending George back out. And to be honest, the way Latifi's been performed by not qualifying for Q3, I'm not entirely sure I'm going to send him back out. An 11th or 12th place start for Latifi seems to be a good place to start. So we are going to leave it as is, I think, and accept what we get. I know you could probably improve on it, but it doesn't matter. I don't need you to. Maybe at the final minute of the session now. And Lawrence is going quicker. Norris has gone quicker, I think. Latifi's down to P13. Other than that, Russell is into Q3. Not that that has done well for him recently, but he's outqualified Latifi yet again. Latifi will start P13 because in Q2 we have lost another 5 drivers, and they are Pierre Gasly, Yuki Tsunoda, Nicholas Latifi, Kimi Raikkonen, and Esteban Ocon. Now time for the top 10 shootout, where Russell will be aiming for, once again, probably 7th, 8th, maybe even 6th at a push. I'd be happy with any of those. I'm just happy we've got a car that can get him there, really, and he's a really good driver, which is why he has to stay. He has to. If we could start working out how to get him to perform when he gets to Q3, then he does have to stay, because he's a brilliant driver. And at this point, the way Latifi's driving, I'm probably sat at a point where I'm saying Latifi's got to stay as well. Both of them performing so well. Russell has gone off the boil a little bit, but that's that's gonna happen over the course of the season. You're gonna have good bits and bad bits, and he's just hit a bit of a bad bit at the moment. So here he comes for his lap. What can George do? He is 6 tenths down on Lewis. That's not bad after sector 1. He's almost 3 tenths down. He's putting in a lap here, is George. George is putting a very quick lap. George is just putting a very quick lap. I don't know whereabouts he's going to finish with that lap, because we're not sending him out again, but it's a quickie. It's 4th after the first round of runs from all the other drivers. We will see whether Perez or Ricciardo or Sainz can improve. But right now it is a 4th place for George Russell. Max is going a little bit quicker. Perez was improving, but now isn't. Sainz is our biggest threat, and George Russell is going to be starting P4 on the grid. Happy days. Max Verstappen gets pole. But what a lap from George. Now, obviously, I know it hasn't been fantastic from him when he's been in Q3, and I'm hoping this could be the race maybe where that changes. Just maybe. The strategies once again will be very different. Obviously with Latifi we'll be going for as little pit stops as we possibly can. So with George we're going to go with, he's got to go on the super softs anyway, so we'll get his super soft performance up, and Nicholas can have soft tyres. We can't change his. He has to go out on the ultra softs. There's 28 laps around this track. We can do quite a few of them on soft tyres with Latifi. So that's what we're going to do. Well, for the grid for the Brazilian Grand Prix, Max Verstappen is going to lead us away on pole position. Lewis Hamilton alongside him in 2nd. Valtteri Bottas in 3rd, sharing it with George Russell of all people in 4th. Sergio Perez starts 5th and Carlos Sainz starts 6th. Daniel Ricciardo is 7th alongside Charles Leclerc in 8th. Lando Norris is 9th, in a brilliant qualifying for him recently, and Sebastian Vettel is 10th. Pierre Gasly is 11th alongside Yuki Tsunoda in 12th. Nicholas Latifi will start on the softs in 13th, and Kimi Raikkonen also on the softs in 14th. Esteban Ocon is 15th along Lance Stroll in 16th. Fernando Alonso starts 17th and Antonio Giovinazzi is 18th, and the Haas teammates Mick and Nikita prop up the field in 19th and 20th respectively. Let's head down for lights out. Can George get a good start from 4th on the grid? We'll find out. He's had a decent start. He might get down the inside of Bottas here, and indeed he has. And George Russell is up into third. He's looking to get past Max into second, which he's managed as well. George Russell is second, but there's a Ferrari on his inside, and he's dropped back down to third as Charles Leclerc sneaks through. Nicholas Latifi's actually got himself up into 8th place. Maybe even 7th here. Nicholas Latifi's doing bits. Valtteri Bottas looking to get back past George, but George will have the inside line for this corner. And we will now speed things up. So George in 3rd, Latifi's in 6th. Soon it'll be time for ERS, which we will now hit on both. More to defend than anything. And Russell is coming up, and he's past Leclerc. But he's now lost it. And all in all, it has not been the worst start to a Grand Prix you'll ever see. We're going to put him on conserve to conserve the tyres a little bit more. Maybe go that extra lap. Try and help strategy a little bit. He's battling with Verstappen. He's in 4th. He's doing alright, is our George. He's definitely doing alright. Hamilton's just flying, isn't he? He really is. Hamilton's flying away with it. Max should get past him soon, and Latifi will come into pressure himself, being on slower tyres. But all in all, there you go. Max is now through on George, and he should be away. And someone's going to come through, I think, on Latifi. Or did they pit? They may have pit. These ultra soft tyres. Latifi, I think, is starting to gain on George a little bit. At some point, we're going to have to pit George. We'll get his ERS going. Get some ERS on Latifi going, who's done really well since having to go on to conserve. So where we're coming around now, will it be time to pick George after this? Possibly, because he's just going to lose time, I think. Yeah, we're going to pit him after this and put him on some soft tyres. Recharge that battery up. And now we can focus on Latifi. Not that there's going to be much to focus on, but he is running in 3rd place, and as a virtual safety car. 54 seconds, we've just gone back past. We ain't going to get round in it, so ignore it. Other cars might, but it's pointless us doing it. So it's your Leclerc's. George may have saved a little bit during that section as well, to be fair. Put that ERS on George, try and gain on Max if possible, and we'll whack it back down just to save it a little bit. Nicholas Latifi now is actually leading the race. I didn't even notice that. Leclerc is right behind him though. Only the 2 seconds behind, so Latifi, no matter what, probably won't be challenging for the race victory this weekend. Latifi's gone back to ultra softs. I didn't notice that. That's a bit of a dodgy call, is it not? Strange strategy from the Ferrari team. They're trying to make him go really quick and maybe have the extra pit stop in the hope that he'll have enough time from being on the ultra softs. Well, I've no doubt he will get back past Latifi. And George Russell now, on his softs, is running in 13th place. And Charles Leclerc is coming up behind. Eventually he's going to get back past. You'd feel he'll get back past. Latifi will utilise his ERS that he has saved up. Well, we're in a stage of the Grand Prix now where we're waiting for Latifi's pit stop essentially. He's currently fending off Leclerc, which is damaging Leclerc's race more than anything. Leclerc on those ultra softs really needs to get past Latifi, and at the moment he just isn't. He just isn't getting anywhere near him. And Latifi's happy just tootling around because right now, the longer he stays out, the better it is for his race and our strategy. There we go, Leclerc now using the RS. He's used it to get up close. We're going to use it to maybe defend a little bit. He will eventually get past, and I think now is when he's going to get past. Or no, Latifi's going to hang it around the outside, and he does keep first place. And like I said, Leclerc's race is being damaged very badly here. It's just allowing Hamilton to get closer. And like I said, Latifi, we're just happy to tootle around. We've got nothing to worry about. Russell has lost a place to Sergio Perez in the midst of all this. Perez is on the super softs. And Latifi, fingers crossed, will manage to fend off. I think he is actually fending off Leclerc. I think Leclerc's tyres are starting to go now for the Ferrari. Nikita Mazepin will have to pit. There we go. Yeah, I was thinking he's got to pit at some point. And where's that put Russell up to? Russell is up to 10th, but there are still cars that haven't pit. Latifi being one of them. And Leclerc's pitting this lap. So as things stand, Latifi's actually ahead of Leclerc after the pit stops. Or it should be, unless Leclerc comes out and bangs out some quick laps. So Lewis, yeah, we're going to pit Latifi this lap to go onto the super softs. And then we're going to recharge this battery back up for him. So let's utilise the ERS into the pit stop as he did. Oh no. We're going to ignore it. We're going to hope for the best. And now we focus on our George a little bit. What can he do? He's currently running in 4th. And now Carlos Sainz is pitting, as you'd expect he'd have to. We may have to do George's part, and that will ruin George's race if we have to. Latifi's out. Is he out ahead of Leclerc? No, he just misses out that extra lap. Allowed Leclerc to get ahead, but his ERS will allow him to get back past Leclerc. And his tyres should realistically last to the end, so we're going to put them onto neutral and high for Latifi. And now the option for Russell will be, is super softs an option? And if it is, should we realistically be pitting now for them? Because we are going to have to pit again. We're going to pit next lap for the ultra softs. If I fix part, it is an extra 7 seconds to a stop. We're going to do it because otherwise I'm a bit worried he isn't going to reach the end. So we will pit him this lap as part of the strategy. He doesn't necessarily need to pit this lap, but those tyres weren't going to go to the end. They just weren't. Latifi's battling with Leclerc now. He's up into P2 as things stand, is Latifi. Verstappen and Leclerc will be not pitting again, you wouldn't think. They shouldn't be pitting again. And Russell is out in P17, which is not what you want to see. He is on the ultra soft, so he should be gaining on these cars ahead. And hopefully he'll be able to make light work of them as Latifi is battling for a podium. That is a fact. Latifi's battling for a podium here. If he can make it happen, scenes. Absolute scenes if he can make it happen. George Russell is up into 15th now. He's got his first two victims. He's got to gain 7 seconds over the next few laps to get back in the top 10. And the worst thing is, if we didn't do the suspension, it probably would have ended the race. But he would be in the top 10 right now. Frustration, to say the least. And Latifi now, we're going to have to actually start putting him on conserve. He's eating away at these tyres at such a rate. So we are going to put him down onto conserve. Because I want these tyres to go to the end. And George isn't getting past him, is he? Which is frustrating. Oh, there we go. He has with that little ERS boost. He's up into 14th. Maybe some more cars. No, they ain't getting his last lap. So George 7 seconds off. He'd be 8th. Frustrating as it is. That part had to be fixed. It isn't his fault. It isn't his fault that he's finished 14th in the end. The part had to be fixed. If the part wasn't fixed, he'd be on 23.1. He would have finished 8th place, which would have been decent, having to do that extra stop. But Latifi, well, he's got to stay, ain't he, Latifi? I think our driver lineup for next year will be Latifi and George. Latifi grabbing his second place finish of the season in another extraordinary drive. Absolute scenes. George Russell, as I said, without the part being fixed, would have ended up in 8th. It's a bit disappointing, but it is what it is. 18-point haul for Nicholas Latifi, who now overtakes George Russell in the Drivers' Championship. The worrying thing is, if Q3 is that bad getting to, maybe we just aim for Q2 every time and just don't send them out. Because Latifi's flying and he's not got to Q3. He's absolutely flying. And in terms of the Constructors' Championship, we are now securely in 6th place. And all of a sudden, 5th place isn't too far away. And who knows, we may be able to get there. It would be scenes if we did. Absolute scenes. Nicholas Latifi right now in form of his life. George, very annoying that his suspension needed to be repaired. But who knows? I think he's picked up an injury. Yes, he has. Dodgy neck. So both drivers will be driving with a dodgy neck. We get an extra 1.4 million added to the kitty. And next up, we will be racing. Where we'll be racing once it's finished, we'll be racing around Australia. So I will see you guys for Australia. Nicholas Latifi is in the form of his life. Let's hope he continues it, because that 5th place isn't too far away, and another 2nd place finish and 4th isn't exactly a mile away. I'll see you guys in Sydney.